All right, we're here with Robbie Aaron, the guy who does absolutely everything behind the scenes for the Daytona Cubs. Robbie, why don't you give the guys at home a little wherewithal of what you do with the Daytona Cubs?
I'm the Director of Broadcasting and Media Relations here in my 4th season with Daytona. I also do everything having to do with the website, the game day program when you come in, all of the transactions, game notes, anything having to do with the players and the team has to go through our department.
Great, great. How did you get into this job?
I went to Lehigh University focusing on journalism and broadcast journalism, and had internships throughout college, made some really good connections, and then was able to get a job at the winter meetings, an internship with the Lehigh Valley Iron Pigs, a AAA Phillies team. And then from there I got this full-time position, and I've been here for 4 years and grown from there, doing some basketball broadcasting as well, and some spring training stuff too.
Right, because the Daytona Cubs obviously don't play all year long, so in the wintertime, what exactly is it?
Stetson is the university in DeLand, which is about 30 minutes west of Daytona, so with being the Cubs position, having it being a full-time job, I'm the men's basketball broadcaster for Stetson. I do some ESPN3 work too. So.
Oh wow, very cool. All right, so you've been here for 4 years now. Who do you think has stood out the most in the last 4 years for you?
2011 was my first year, and that year was Junior Lake. He was in his second year with Daytona then, and was promoted mid-season, and you kind of knew from his just body language, his skills, that he was going to be a big leaguer. But yeah, in 2012, Javi Baez was promoted, and he struggled right out of the gate. Finished the year stronger, but 2013 he tore up the Florida State League. Baez is the most powerful swing I've ever seen in person from anyone that's not in the big leagues, and he is extremely impressive. And then last year was a very special year, 2013, because we had Baez get promoted on July 4th, and the team was not playing that well. And then when he got promoted, and we kept making transactions, the team somehow found its groove, and that has nothing to do with Baez not being on the team, but it was just a coincidence that we were making these player moves, and usually you can't get chemistry when there's player moves. But 2013, whether it was bringing in Chris Bryant, the Cubs making trades, getting in C.J. Edwards, getting in Corey Black, Ivan Pinheiro, everything kind of fell into place last year, and it was a really special year.
I remember a few years ago I actually witnessed Arizmendi Alcantara come down here, and man, that guy was just, you could tell he had something in him. You know, he wasn't the big name, the big star Javier Baez, Chris Bryant, anything like that, but I remember watching him, and now he's up with the Cubs. He's lighting it up in Chicago. All right, so this year now, who, I mean, you got Kyle Schwarber, Dan Vogelbach, guys like that. Who's really stood up this year for the Daytona Cubs?
From the beginning, we had some players that people in the big leagues, or people who don't closely follow the minor leagues, probably never heard of, were the standouts in the first half. Berjan Rademacher was an unbelievable first half player for us. He struggled a little bit in July, solidifying a corner outfield spot for us. Yoskar Amaya, our second baseman, who's actually been hitting the ball pretty well recently as well, was a first half standout. But then you had the emergence of Albert Almora, who had a really, really good July, earning his promotion.
Recently got promoted to
he's up in Double-A Tennessee. Schwarber coming in, Jacob Hanneman coming up from Kane County when Almora was promoted. And really, you mentioned Dan Vogelbach. He's been unbelievable. June, July, just turning around the season in the second half.
Yeah, and a lot of people don't know that here in High A Daytona, it's actually a tough hitters league. Now, you're on the road quite often. What do you think is one of the funnier things that's happened to you so far with Daytona?
On the road?
On the road, yeah.
When the bus left without myself and my broadcast partner in Fort Myers. It was 2012, a rough series at Fort Myers. The staff, you know, normally between showering and getting all the equipment on the bus, it's at least a 45-minute process, if not more. But that day it was about 20 minutes. We came down, the bus was gone, and we go, where is everyone? So I called the trainer, Pete Fagan, and he said, don't worry, we had to go back to the hotel, someone left something there, so we'll come pick you up. But definitely scared us.
All right, so obviously fans of most MLB teams, they get to see a guy come in and they see their whole career blossom, really get to know the player and just fall in love with him. Obviously here in Daytona and single A, minor league, all around, you get to see guys only in small increments. What's it like as a fan watching games like this?
I think for minor league fans in certain cities, especially Daytona, where there's no spring training as opposed to all these other parks that we play in the Florida State League, fans really get to know players personally. We have autograph sessions, we have, you know, bowling tournaments where they're not just players on the field, they're actual people. And then when, you know, even if it's a 3 or 4 month span, like you mentioned, they're getting called up, we still have fans talk about Jake Fox, former Daytona Cub, who's no longer in the Cubs, or Josh Harrison, who's in the Pirates now, who was with the Daytona Cubs, and they remember all these personal stories about how, he got this split at the bowling tournament, or, he came over and said happy birthday to my granddaughter. So, just really cool, intimate stories about how these people are actually people as opposed to just players on the field.
All right. Now, baseball, obviously, with the whole Billy Bean and the Moneyball movie, it's coming in a full swing now with advanced stats. How have you embraced them? Are you still struggling with it, or you've taken it on pretty easily?
I think being a younger broadcaster as opposed to maybe someone who's been around baseball for 50, 60 years, I was never entrenched without it. I kind of was brought into it as it was being developed as well, so I don't have a hard time with it. I like to focus on the things that I think are most important, and some of the things that Advanced Stats focuses on that aren't, I tend to lay off of, but I think that it's something that's good for the game. It's something that, you still have to watch, you still have to use your natural instinct on evaluating a player and their skills. It's not necessarily about all velocity, it's more about command for a pitcher, stuff like that. On-base percentage is always huge, so I think that it's almost like to each his own and how they feel about it.
All right. All right, well, this has been Robbie Aaron with the Daytona Cubs. Thank you all for watching here at City Undertake, and thank you.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yep, anytime.
Absolutely.